It was our 6th wedding anniversary, and my husband said he had a surprise planned for me. I waited on the mountaintop for over 3 hours, braving the cold and eventually a torrential downpour, but he never showed up. Then, his childhood sweetheart, Melody, posted a photo on social media, tagging her location at a mid-mountain hotel. The caption read, "Absence makes the heart grow fonder." In the photo, the two of them were lying on a bed scattered with rose petals, their fingers interlocked. His ring finger was conspicuously bare, and his chest bore red scratch marks and faint bite marks. I felt a wave of nausea. I commented under her post, "If you've been bitten by a dog, don't forget to get a tetanus shot." The moment I saw that photo, my first thought was, Noah is filthy. I don't want him anymore. So when Noah, for the first time ever, called me to explain, I simply said 2 words, "Let's divorce." He was silent for a moment before responding, "Luna, stop being so jealous. Melody and I grew up together. She's like a sister to me. What's wrong with joking around? Only people with dirty minds see dirt in everything. Besides, we just ran into each other by chance. It was raining outside, and she's not in good health. I was worried something might happen to her, so I brought her to the room to shelter from the rain." The more he explained, the guiltier he sounded. I interrupted impatiently, "I'm still on the mountaintop. I've been waiting for you for 3 hours and standing in the rain for 1. There's no shelter here, and I don't dare go down the mountain on my own." Hearing that I was in a precarious situation, Noah sounded anxious. "Wait for me. I'll come get you." I waited another hour, but even after the rain stopped, Noah never came. The muddy mountain path was treacherous after the rain, and after just a few steps, I was covered in mud. I sneezed several times and felt my heart sink into the muck as well, heavy and nauseated. When I got home, I took a hot shower. Then I saw Melody had posted another update. "No rain can scare me. My knight in shining armor will always take me home." Underneath, Noah, who had never once liked or commented on my posts, had written, "I'll always protect my princess." When I refreshed the page, the comment was gone. I wondered if Noah had blocked me. My headache worsened. I took a few cold pills and fell into a deep sleep. Not long after, Noah yanked the blanket off me. "Why didn't you wait for me? I'm starving. Get up and make me something to eat. And make an extra bowl of ginger soup." Melody caught a bit of rain, and I'll take it to her later. I woke up abruptly, my headache pounding harder. My tone was sharp and impatient. "Didn't Melody feed you enough?" Noah shot up, glaring at me with anger. "Luna, can you stop? Haven't I explained everything already? I was late because of traffic. Do you have to ruin our anniversary like this? I went through so much trouble to plan a surprise for you." As he spoke, he tossed a small box at me. It accidentally hit the corner of my eye, and the pain brought tears to my eyes. He looked startled and hurried over to check my injury. As his hand approached, I caught a whiff of a familiar scent, Melody's shampoo. I could picture his fingers running through her hair, his face soft with affection. Disgusted, I pushed him away. My gaze fell on the box on the floor. The necklace inside had fallen out. It was the one I'd always wanted, the same one Melody often wore around her neck. But the cheap sheen of this one gave everything away. In this marriage, Melody got the genuine necklace and Noah's real love. All I got were lies, one after another. I didn't even bother asking who the surprise at the mountain villa was really for. It was 1 a.m. now. I slowly looked up at Noah. "Our 6th anniversary is over, so is our marriage. Stop saying things you don't mean. I think we should go to the hospital and have your eye checked," Noah said, his face full of concern as he noticed the blood seeping from the corner of my eye. Ignoring my weak state, he forcibly dragged me out of bed, pretending to be a caring husband. He insisted on taking me to the hospital. I was groggy and didn't even have time to grab a coat. The temperature in the car was set too low, so I hugged a stuffed bear to my chest for warmth. Upon closer inspection, I noticed the bear now had 2 exaggerated fake eyelashes stuck to its face, an obvious provocation. Noticing my reaction, Noah explained. Last time I picked up Melody, she said the bear was cute and stuck those on as a joke. She's just a kid at heart. Don't take it so seriously. I'll buy you a new one tomorrow. This bear was a gift from my late grandmother. Heartbroken, I gently wiped its face clean and said nothing more. Just then Melody called. Is that old hag asleep yet? Forget about her and come drink with us. Bruce and Felix are here too. Noah glanced at me awkwardly. She's next to me. Then bring the country bumpkin sister-in-law along. Don't live like such an old fossil, Melody said, sending over her location. Noah immediately turned the car around. I don't want to go. Take me home. The word drinking brought back humiliating memories. The first time I met Noah's friends, I had dressed up carefully, only to be ridiculed. Knowing I couldn't handle alcohol, they kept pressuring me to drink, then took photos of my drunken state and posted them online. Meanwhile, Noah left me drunk and alone at the bar to take Melody home. When I woke up, I was surrounded by a group of men with bad intentions. Though the manager intervened to help me, the fear from that night still haunts me. Noah. He had long since forgotten the past completely. Can you stop being so selfish? What's wrong with me catching up with some old friends? I've never interfered with your social life. Then let me down. I'll go home on my own. My head was spinning, and I just wanted to rest. I didn't even have the energy to argue with Noah. No way. If you don't show respect to my friends, you're disrespecting me. You're coming tonight, no excuses. His stubbornness flared up again. Seeing my pale face, he softened his tone slightly. Come on, just say hi, and we'll leave. Don't make me upset, okay? By the time we arrived, it was already past 2 a.m. Melody greeted Noah with an enthusiastic hug, then gave me a quick once-over. Wow, you've got quite the attitude, huh? Still mad at me? Women are so petty. Noah and I have been friends for years. If we wanted something to happen, do you think you'd even have the chance to marry him? With that, the group pulled Noah into a seat. There were 4 chairs, but I was left standing. Well, we've been friends since we were kids. We're used to it. There's no extra seat, Melody said, glancing around. She smiled at me. Why don't you head home? You wouldn't understand what we're talking about anyway. The 4 of them had been childhood friends, and Melody, the youngest, was their little darling. During the years I deeply loved Noah, I tried my best to accept his friends and fit into his life. But every time we gathered, Melody would lead the conversation, reminiscing about the past, mocking my background, and discussing things I couldn't contribute to, leaving me sidelined. Sensing the awkwardness, Bruce stood up to offer me a seat. Here, you can sit. I looked at Bruce and suddenly remembered how he'd asked Noah more than once, what does Luna have over Melody? Why did you marry her? Noah's response echoed in my mind. I was fighting with Melody at the time. It was impulsive. I've regretted it ever since, but I felt bad for her. She's been chasing after me for so long. I sighed softly. No need. Once we're divorced, there'll be enough seats. In a marriage, there's no room for a third person. Noah looked at me in shock. In all our years of marriage, this was the first time I had humiliated him in front of his friends. Usually, even if he drank until the early hours, I'd pick him up without complaint after just one call. But now, I couldn't bring myself to keep compromising for him. Bruce and Felix quickly tried to smooth things over, but Melody scoffed, grabbing Noah's hand. Only useless women threaten men with divorce, she said mockingly. Noah's face darkened with embarrassment. Luna, have I spoiled you too much? Have you forgotten the days when you begged me not to divorce you? I picked up my phone and left without a word. I wouldn't beg him anymore. When Melody first returned from abroad, I had countless arguments with Noah over their overly intimate brother-sister relationship. Every time Noah would say, if you can't handle it, then let's divorce. Back then, I was still lost in the illusion of love, apologizing and pleading for his forgiveness time and time again. I had knelt at our doorstep, cried in the dead of night, but Noah only saw my patience and love as reasons to trample on me further. This time, I wouldn't bow down. I went home, packed my belongings, and moved into the small apartment I had bought before our marriage. It was part of my dowry, purchased with my own savings. When Noah found out I had bought it, he argued with me, saying, "Only an idiot would buy an apartment, small, remote, and embarrassing. You should have used that money to buy a car. Imagine how much cooler I'd look driving it." Later, my parents bought me a top-tier luxury car as part of my dowry, which finally satisfied Noah. I'm so glad I didn't listen to him back then. That little apartment became my sanctuary, while the luxury car had long since become Melody's personal ride. After all the drama, the sun had already risen. I was wide awake, so I went to print out the divorce papers. When I returned, I was surprised to see Noah standing at my door. This was the first time he had ever come looking for me. "Last night, I went too far with my words. But you shouldn't have treated my friends like that. Just apologize to Melody, and we'll move past this." As I was leaving last night, I overheard Melody saying, "The daughter of a nouveau riche really has a temper. Marrying a woman like that is just bad luck." To outsiders, Noah painted me as a paranoid, jealous wife. But in this marriage, it was always Noah throwing tantrums. To the world, he was gentle and polite. At home, he was impossible to please. If I added scallions to a dish, he'd explode, calling me useless and storming off. I was never the one who needed to apologize. I shoved the divorce papers into his hands and walked into the room. Noah followed closely behind, wrapping his arms tightly around me. "Stop being so stubborn. I'll apologize, okay? I know I've been neglecting you lately. You're upset, and I get it. I'll make it up to you. Let's have a baby, all right?" I broke free and slapped him hard across the face. "Don't touch me. You disgust me." Noah's face turned red from the slap. My face quickly turned red with anger, but before I could express my fury, I fainted. When I woke up, I found myself in a hospital, with Noah sitting by my bedside, looking concerned. "Moon, arguments are just arguments. Don't take it out on your health, okay? You really scared me this time with your high fever and fainting. Do you not know why I got a fever? Who made me get soaked in the rain? Who made me wander outside all night? Who said they'd take me to the hospital but then turned around to go drinking with friends?" Noah looked a bit guilty and turned his face away. "Let's not talk about that. Here, have something to eat. I made you some porridge." The so-called seafood porridge had no seafood, just a few scattered grains of rice, looking like something thrown away, making me feel nauseous just looking at it. Just then, Melody pushed the door open and entered. "Noah, the seafood porridge you made was really good, but I'm not full yet. Come with me downstairs to eat some more." Noah looked at me, a bit troubled. "Go ahead," I said, casually tossing the porridge into the trash. "Melody has a sensitive stomach." Noah awkwardly tried to explain, but Melody grabbed his arm, urging him on. After a moment of hesitation, Noah left with a quick, "I'll bring you something nice when I get back." I ordered some takeout for myself, and after finishing my IV drip, I asked the doctor for some medication. The doctor looked at me several times. "Was that your husband just now?" "Ex-husband." "That's good. I was wondering because when you were unconscious, he and that woman in the short skirt were hugging in the hallway and kissing by your bedside, treating the hospital like a hotel." He handed me the prescription and his phone. "Leave your contact info. If you feel unwell, you can reach out any time." Seeing the anticipation in his eyes, I nodded knowingly. Back home, I saw a message from Noah. "Something urgent came up at work. I can't be with you. If you're not feeling well, just message me, and I'll come as soon as I can." Nice words. I remember once when I had acute gastroenteritis, I was in excruciating pain, but Noah complained I was disturbing his sleep and went to the study with his blanket. "If you're unwell, go see a doctor. What's the use of telling me? I can't treat illnesses. So this time, feeling upset and uncomfortable, I directly contacted the new doctor I met. We had coffee and went shopping, which lifted my spirits quite a bit. But when I returned home, I was stunned. The small apartment was crowded with people, both sets of parents, Noah and Melody, all looking at me. Noah, with reddened eyes, was staring at the divorce papers in front of him. Melody, arms crossed, looked at me disdainfully. I've never seen such a shameless woman. Nate treats you so well, yet you're out there with another man. Mom held a photo of me and the doctor shopping. What's going on? Noah says you cheated during the marriage and insists on a divorce. Haven't you two always been good together? I never expected Noah to stoop so low. Aunt Rachel slammed the table. Divorce her. We don't want a woman who doesn't uphold her duties. No wonder you haven't been able to conceive all these years. I bet it's because of your indecent behavior ruining your body. A chorus of malicious, vulgar comments was directed at me. I glanced at Noah, suppressing my anger. Noah, don't twist the truth and play the victim. Do you think I don't know about the things you've done behind my back? I was planning to leave you some dignity, but since you don't want it, don't blame me for being rude. I retrieved a box from the bedroom. On moving day, I discovered a secret even more shocking than Noah's infidelity. I held back, waiting for the right moment. Now the time had come. Why did you marry me? You've liked Melody for so many years, so why choose me at the last moment instead of her? Noah looked confused. What nonsense are you spouting? I've told you many times, I married you because I love you. Melody and I grew up together as friends. There's nothing between us. Melody feigned tears. Uncle, Aunt, I can't live like this. She's always slandering me and Noah, severely affecting my life. She's trying to drive me to death. Aunt Rachel comforted Melody, who was sobbing in her arms, while Noah looked at me with a pained expression. I don't understand why you've become like this. Why blame innocent people for your mistakes? Why ruin a young girl's reputation with malice? Moon, I'm so disappointed in you. I let out a cold laugh and threw the documents from the box in Noah's face. You chose me because my family's financial situation was better. At the time, your family's company was on the verge of bankruptcy and needed my dowry to cover the losses. All these years of marriage, you've been entangled with Melody. I have hotel records and surveillance footage. Throughout our marriage, Noah's family always looked down on me for being the daughter of a nouveau riche, thinking I was scheming and not as pure and straightforward as Melody, thinking I was materialistic and not as cultured as Melody. But without me, where would they have their current affluent lifestyle? Hearing this, Noah panicked. Luna, stop talking nonsense. When did I ever use your dowry? I brought both families here to give you one last chance. There's no need to turn the tables on me. I turned on the TV. The video of the two at the hospital was played. In the video, I lay on the hospital bed, pale and unconscious, while Noah held Melody, whispering something. The two laughed and joked in front of me. Seeing no sign of me waking up, Melody suddenly kissed Noah. He was stunned for a moment but didn't push her away. Instead, he deepened the kiss. The scene then shifted to the hallway, where they embraced for a long time before reluctantly parting. I sought out the doctor to obtain this footage. My voice choked with emotion. I have many such videos. The car's dashcam recorded even more shocking scenes. If you want, I can show them all to you. Bastard! Dad erupted in anger, grabbing a chair and hurling it at Noah. If Mom hadn't stopped him, he would have charged at Noah. My daughter is lying unconscious in the hospital, and you dare to do such things right by her bedside? It's outrageous. I can't even begin to imagine how much she's suffered in your house all these years. I couldn't even remember all the grievances. I just remember that, in the end, I got used to it. Under Noah's constant brainwashing and manipulation, I didn't dare to get angry or question him. I could only silently doubt myself and bear all the pain alone. Thankfully, that heavy rain woke me up and made me see clearly the man I had loved for 6 years, who had deceived me for 6 years. Mom, Dad, let me explain. It's not what it looks like, Noah pleaded, his pride gone, his face pale and flustered. But with the evidence so clear, how could he explain it away? In the past, he could rely on my love and trust to deceive me time and again. But now, no one present would believe his lies. I looked at Noah calmly. Sign the divorce papers now, and I'll let you keep some dignity. If this drags on, it won't look good for either family. I won't divorce you, Luna. Don't be so cruel to me. It's all a misunderstanding. You're the only one in my heart. We've been married for 6 years. Don't you understand my feelings? I briefly recalled those 6 years. After the love faded, I couldn't find any proof that Noah had ever loved me. He never picked me up from work, never cooked a meal for me. The first and only surprise in 6 years was intercepted by Melody. If I hadn't seen his passionate, reckless love for Melody, I might have convinced myself that Noah was just not good at expressing himself. But his affection for Melody was all too clear to me. Luna, men often have to socialize outside. These two kids grew up together. They might have lost their boundaries a bit, but it's not a big deal. Listen to me. Have a child. Once the child is born, a man's heart will settle, Aunt Rachel advised. I avoided her touch. If you're willing to live like this, that's your choice. I can't tolerate it. Haven't you always looked down on me, wanting Melody to be your daughter-in-law? Now you can have your wish. But you must return my dowry and the marital assets that were transferred away. Every single cent. We all know where those assets went. Seeing everyone looking at her, Melody's face turned awkward. Nate, say something for me. It's not like that. I didn't. Noah, who had always staunchly defended Melody, was now silent. He walked over to me, looking pitifully at me. Don't say such cruel things. It hurts me. As I was about to leave, he grabbed my hand. Melody, feeling neglected, burst into tears and ran out. You're all ganging up on me. Fine. I'll just die. And then you can be together without any worries. The hand holding mine loosened instantly. Almost instinctively, Noah chased after her. When he reached the door, he stopped awkwardly and looked back at me. Luna, I just can't stand by and watch her get hurt. Even if she were a stranger, I wouldn't ignore it. I smiled faintly, not arguing. Memories involuntarily surfaced in my mind. The biggest argument Noah and I ever had was when I discovered he had switched my vitamins with birth control pills. I angrily confronted him. If you don't want kids, you can tell me. Why do this? Do you know how harmful excessive birth control can be to the body? Noah dismissively retorted, that's not my problem. I just don't want kids. If you don't want to take the pills, then we'll sleep in separate rooms. I couldn't understand why he was so strongly opposed to having children until I accidentally saw his chat history with Melody. Melody said, I can forgive you for marrying another woman, but I don't want to see you have children with her. I know you don't love her, but a child would divert your attention. I want to always be the most important person in your heart. I want all your love. That was the first time I considered divorce. I cried endlessly, feeling lost and disoriented, even failing to notice when I was being followed on my way home. When I realized something was wrong, in a panic, I quickly called Noah. He scoffed. Why are you calling me? Didn't you leave home all tough? Solve it yourself if you're so capable. When I thought of calling the police, the man snatched my phone and knocked me down. Luckily, I had pepper spray with me, which allowed me to narrowly escape. When Noah came to pick me up at the police station, he looked down on me. Luna, look at you. Without me, you're useless. Can't even protect yourself. For the sake of old times, I'll reluctantly forgive you this once. I told you, Melody and I are just friends. Stop being jealous for no reason and live well with me. Be good, and as long as you behave, I'll love you. It was like a slap, followed by a sweet date. Under Noah's constant brainwashing, I gradually lost myself. Thinking back now, it just feels ironic. He cared about Melody's safety, cared about strangers, but not about me, his wife. When I looked towards the door again, Noah had already left. I turned my gaze to Aunt Rachel and pointed to the door. "You should leave too." They tried to plead with my parents, but Dad didn't even spare them a glance, and they left awkwardly. The once crowded and noisy little room suddenly quieted down. I looked up at my parents, and tears fell uncontrollably. Mom hugged me tightly. "If I had known my precious daughter would suffer like this, I would never have let you marry him." As the only daughter, my parents gave me a substantial dowry when I got married, fearing I would be wronged. Over the years, they treated Noah's family with respect and provided various subsidies, hoping they would treat me well. But our family's courtesy was met with disdain. "It's okay, it's all in the past. Come home with us, we'll help you sort everything out." I shook my head. Marrying him was my own choice, and I should end it myself. I bought this small apartment with my own earnings. I've grown up and don't need to rely on anyone anymore. I believe I can live well on my own. In the past, I saw Noah as my support, and my daily life revolved around him. But now, thinking back, I realize I'm not that bad. Leaving him will only make me live better. "My daughter has grown up," Mom said, gently caressing my face. "Make sure to take care of yourself. If you have any problems, talk to us. We're always on your side." She lowered her head. "We were wrong before, always urging you to make up after fights." I grew up pampered, the spoiled little princess of the family, and Noah was too good at pretending in front of others. So when I went back to my parents after fights, Mom would always advise me, "Living together is different from dating. You need to temper your temper." They had no idea what I had been through all these years, and I didn't want to worry them unnecessarily. "It's okay. It's all in the past." I didn't want to dwell on unhappy things. After comforting my parents, I saw them off. I tidied up the room a bit and started preparing to look for a job. After being caged by Noah for so many years, it was time for me to see the world outside. The next few days were quite leisurely. I planned to work outside for a few years before going back to take over the family business. After sending out a bunch of resumes and ordering some of my favorite takeout, I nestled on the sofa with bubble tea and fried chicken, watching TV. There was a knock on the door. Thinking it was the delivery, I opened it to find Noah standing there. He glanced inside, frowning slightly. "Luna, how did you fall to this? I heard you're looking for a job. Why bother? Stay with me and I'll take care of you for life, give you the best life." His gaze fell on the bubble tea in my hand. "You shouldn't eat this junk food every day. Are you sick? Have you forgotten that the so-called best life was achieved by exploiting me?" Noah had a cleanliness obsession, not an ordinary one, but a double standard. He wouldn't allow me, with my low blood sugar, to eat candy in the car, but he allowed Melody to eat chips there. He wouldn't allow junk food like takeout and bubble tea at home, but was willing to accompany Melody to eat street food. To maintain his high-standard lifestyle, I had to wake up at 6 every day to clean and cook, strictly following meal plans. Yet, how many meals did Noah actually eat at home? He disliked my hair shedding, so I had to clean the floor several times a day, while Melody's hair was sticking to him right now. "Moon, we've been together for 6 years. Life is full of ups and downs, it's about compromise. You won't live better without me. If you don't want to do housework, we can hire a maid. If you're bored at home, I can arrange a leisurely position for you at the company. As for Melody, I can distance myself from her. I've made so many concessions for you, what more do you want?" I remembered when we first got married, I could hardly do anything. I had suggested hiring a maid or dividing housework, but Noah looked at me with disdain. "Then why did I marry you? Ugly and useless." Yet, in front of Melody, he was willing to do anything. He could hold a bowl of hot soup. Luna's seafood porridge told Melody, You don't need to know anything. I'll take care of you for a lifetime. In my heart, you'll always be that little princess who never grows up. Thinking of this, I closed the door with disdain. But Noah suddenly reached out to stop it, his hand turning red but refusing to let go. What exactly do you want? I asked. I want to take you home, Noah said, looking up at me with tears streaming down his face. I really like you. Why won't you believe me? My care for Melody is just like a brother's care for a sister. That night, I was just a bit drunk and acted on impulse. After sobering up, I felt really sorry for you. I thought about breaking it off with Melody and living a good life with you. That time at the hospital, she said she loved me and couldn't let go, wanted to kiss me and hug me one last time. I agreed in a moment of weakness. Moon, believe me, that was the time I really intended to break it off completely with her. This was the first time Noah cried in front of me and admitted his mistake. Seeing him so remorseful and pained, my heart, which had long been calm, felt like a stone had been thrown into it. I took a deep breath and splashed my tea in Noah's face. The ripples in my heart weren't from softness, but from disgust. Noah didn't dodge or get angry, he looked at me sorrowfully. Hit me if it makes you feel better. As long as you come home with me, you can hit or scold me however you want. Even hitting you would dirty my hands, I replied. Noah, if you have any shame, never appear in front of me again. Moon, how can you be so heartless to me? Noah suddenly stepped closer, gripping my shoulders. You were the one who approached me first. How can you say you don't love me anymore? As long as I don't agree to the divorce, you'll never be able to leave me. Before I could react, Noah lifted me up, trying to take me away without a word. I struggled desperately, tearing open the buttons on his shirt in the process. The red marks on his abs had faded, but the hickey on his collarbone was still clear. Noah paused, instinctively letting me down and hurriedly covering it up. It's not what you think. Mosquito bites, right? I looked at Noah with red eyes. How do you have the nerve to touch me, Noah? Don't you feel dirty? Just looking at you makes me sick. Get out of my house or I'll call the police. I don't know if it was my words or my tears that worked, but Noah stepped back a few times, looking at me with a cautious, pleading gaze. Finally, with red eyes, he fled in panic. That night, I received a video from Noah. He was repeatedly washing himself with cold water, saying, Moon, I've cleaned myself up. Please don't be angry. Give me another chance, I beg you. I immediately blocked all contact with Noah and moved overnight to a long vacant house under my parents' name. I was afraid Noah would find my house again and do something drastic. After much thought, I contacted a lawyer to prepare for a divorce. I had prepared for everything, but I overlooked Melody. A woman in love is more formidable than Detective Conan. Melody painstakingly found her way to me. You bitch, you're the one who instigated Noah to ignore me. Who do you think you are? First come, first served, don't you understand? You're the homewrecker in our relationship. Let me tell you, don't think you've won. With a little trick, I can get Noah back to my side. I rubbed my ears, irritated by the noise, and replied, Be my guest. Whoever wants that trash can have him. I certainly don't want him anymore. Melody was taken aback, clearly not expecting such a reaction from me. She quickly tried to provoke me again. Enough with your tricks. There's surveillance at the door, so don't think about framing me. Melody had used this tactic countless times over the years, trying to provoke me into hitting or scolding her, then crying to Noah. She paused, wanting to say more, but Noah had already arrived, looking haggard and smelling of perfume masking alcohol. His eyes lit up the moment he saw me. Mel said you were here. I finally found you. You have no idea how much I've missed you. I haven't contacted her at all during this time. I've really changed. Please believe me. I won't force you to do anything you don't like anymore. I won't dare bully you again. Please don't ignore me. Melody's gaze at me was filled with even more resentment. To her, Noah used to come whenever she called. She never imagined that one day she would need to go through me just to see him. If you're here to sign the divorce papers, then you're welcome. If not, I'll call security. Noah looked at me for a long time. This time he didn't even dare to reach out to touch me. Slowly he said, "Okay, I'll sign. Just let me look at you a little longer, please." I let Noah in. Melody tried to hold his hand, but he shook her off in disgust. Once inside, Noah kept staring at me, as if he had 1,000 words stuck in his throat. I made myself a cup of hot tea and sat on the sofa reading a book. "Sign the papers and leave," I said. "Luna, do you really have nothing else to say to me?" Seeing that I didn't answer, Noah continued speaking to himself. He talked about our first meeting on a summer evening and our 6 years of marriage. He said he loved me very much. During this time, a police officer called to say that Melody had been in a car accident, but he just coldly hung up the phone and continued talking to me. A moment's hesitation is truly just a moment's hesitation. If I had held my ground back then, we wouldn't have ended up here. Saying this, he slapped himself hard twice. I know it's too late for regrets now. I just beg you, don't hide from me. Even if I can only watch you from afar, where you can't see me, that would be enough. I yawned. Are you done? If so, sign the papers and leave. Suddenly, it started pouring rain outside. With tears streaming down his face, Noah signed his name on the divorce papers and resolutely walked into the rain. The rain lasted all day and night, and Noah stood in it the entire time. His family took turns trying to persuade him, but he refused to leave, punishing himself in a self-destructive manner. I drew the curtains, shutting out all the noise from outside. My love for Noah began with the gentle breeze of a summer evening years ago and ended with the heavy rain of a late autumn night. From now on, I will start a new life, and everything about Noah will no longer concern me.